Hello guys, welcome to iFactNet.com English grammar lessons, and in today's lesson we are going to learn about past continuous tense. What is the right form of past continuous tense and when do we use it? Let's start our lesson. We have got two examples on this slide. The first one is I was playing when you came to my house. If you look closely, then there are two tenses in this sentence. I was playing, which is a past continuous tense. You came to my house. You came is a past simple tense. In this lesson, we will focus on past continuous tense. Another example is he was driving when she called him. He was driving is an example of past continuous tense, and she called is in past simple tense. Now, I think you understand that whenever we use past tense continuous tense, there is a good possibility that there will be a past simple tense in that sentence. Let's continue our discussion on past continuous tense. There are three forms of a tense: affirmative form, negative form, and question form. Let's see what is the affirmative form of past continuous tense. We have an example: I was playing when you came to my house. This part is in past continuous tense. I was playing. I is the subject. Then we have got was, the second form of to be, and then we have got the ing form of the verb play. I was playing. So to form the affirmative form of past continuous tense, we use the subject. Then the second form of to be either was or were, depending upon the subject, and then we use the present participle, that is the ing form of the verb. This is the auxiliary verb, was or were, and this is the main verb. So it's subject, auxiliary verb, and then the ing form of the main verb. That is how we create or form past continuous tense. Now let's see how do we use was or were with different pronouns. The first example, which we have already discussed, is I was playing when you came to my house. He was playing blah blah blah. She was playing. It was playing. And now you were playing. They were playing. We were playing. So remember that with you, either singular or plural, they and we use were. And with I, he, she, it, we use was with the past continuous tense. Now let's discuss about the negative form of past continuous tense. Now you see that in our example, I have added not. I was not playing when you came to my house. So, to form the negative form of past continuous tense, we have got the subject, then either was or were, depending upon the subject. Then we have got not. And then the ing form of the main verb. Subject, was or were, then not, and then the ing form of the main verb. Play. And we add ing, so it's playing. Remember that play is a regular verb. Just like talk, we just add ing in the end and it becomes talking. And similarly we have got speak. So with the regular verb we just add ing in the end and we have got the ing form. But with the irregular verbs we use different rules to add ing. Please visit my other tutorial on ing verbs, how do we form ing verbs, and the description and the links are given in the description below. But first let's discuss about the negative form of past continuous tense. So we have got different pronouns: I, he, she, it, you, they, were. So I have got the first example as I was not playing when you came to my house. He was not playing. She was not playing. It was not playing. And then we have got you were not playing. They were not playing. We were not playing. That is how we form the negative form of past continuous tense. But there is also a contracted negative form, a smaller negative form, which we usually use in spoken English. Usually we do not write the contracted form, but in everyday talking we use the contracted form. And the contracted form is I wasn't. Instead of was not, I am using the contracted form, that is wasn't. And if you observe, then I am using apostrophe. This apostrophe indicates that something is missing, or it shows that we are using the contracted form. So I wasn't playing when you came to my house. He wasn't playing. She wasn't playing. It wasn't playing. You weren't. playing, they weren't playing, we weren't playing. Now let's continue our discussion and we move forward with the question form of past continuous tense. Remember that in our example, affirmative form, I had the sentence I was playing when you came to my house. But to form a question form, we interchange the subject and the auxiliary verb. So now, first I have got the auxiliary verb, was or were, the second form of to be, then I have got the subject, and then we have got the present participle, that is the ing form of the main verb. Subject was, we have got was or were, then the subject, and then the ing form of the main verb. And remember that we add the question mark at the end of the sentence, just like in all the other languages. So our example is, was I playing when you came to my house? And similarly, we have got the different forms with the different pronouns. Was I playing when you came to my house? Was he playing? Was she playing? Was it playing? Were you playing? Were they playing? Were we playing? So it's subject, was or were, then the subject, and then the ing form of the main verb. There are some other question forms that we use with the question words why, what, how, where, and who. So the example is, what was I playing when you came to my house? So we have got the question word, then we have got was or were, that is the auxiliary verb, then we have got the subject, and then the ing form of the main verb. Question word, then was or were, that is the second form of to be, then subject, and the ing form of the main verb. So let's see some examples of the question forms with the question words. What was I playing when you came to my house? Why was he laughing? Where were you going? How were they talking in the class? Who was sleeping? Now guys, let's see when do we use past continuous tense. In 5 situations we use past continuous tense. First one is interrupted action in the past. Second is specific time interruptions. Third is parallel actions in the past. Fourth is defining the atmosphere or storyline. And fifth is when we use the words always on or constantly to tell about the annoying habit. Now let's see, when do we use past continuous tense as an interrupted action in the past? When a longer action in the past was interrupted by a shorter action. For example, he was playing when his father called. So we have got the timeline. This is past. Here we have got present, and here we have got future. Now we say that when a longer action in the past was interrupted by a shorter action. He was playing. Let's say that in the past he started playing over here and he continued playing over here. He started playing at 6 p.m. yesterday and he played till 8 p.m. And there was a shorter action that interrupted the longer action. That is, at 7 p.m. his father called. So, longer action is represented by past continuous tense, he was playing, and the shorter action which interrupted the longer action is represented by the past simple tense. He started playing at 6 p.m. and played till 8 p.m. and the longer action was interrupted by a shorter action because he started playing before his father called and he remained playing after his father called. Therefore, we use past continuous tense for the play and we use past simple tense for call. Got it? He was playing when his father called. When you came, comma, I was sleeping. You see that when we use the word when within the sentence, then we do not use comma. But when the word starts with when the sentence starts with when, then we have got a comma in the sentence. When you came, I was sleeping. I started sleeping at 6 p.m. and slept till 8 p.m. and you came at 7 p.m. My longer action was interrupted by the shorter action. Therefore, longer action or the shorter action is represented by past simple tense and the longer action by past continuous tense. When you came, I was sleeping. Remember that this word when is used with the past simple tense part of the sentence. And while is always used with the past continuous tense part of the sentence. So, we have got the third example. While we were watching TV, comma, because we started with the while. It started to rain. We were watching TV and the longer action was interrupted by the shorter action. It started to rain at 7 p.m. and it stopped raining at 7:30. Another example is she was waiting for us when we arrived. She was waiting for us when we arrived. Okay, now we see when do we use past continuous tense when our longer action is interrupted at a specific time. So let's say that I started working at 1 p.m. and I was working till 5 p.m. But I want to tell that at 2 p.m. I was working. So now we are using a specific time as an interruption. So we use past continuous tense. Yesterday at 2 p.m., comma, I was working. Similarly, we use a specific time as an interruption in this second example. Last night at this time, we were watching a movie. At midnight, he was walking down the street. He started walking at, let's say, in the evening, and he was still walking till the midnight or till the morning. So we are telling our audience that at midnight he was walking down the street. We use past continuous tense when parallel actions in the past were happening at the same time. When two or more actions were happening at the same time in the past, then we use past continuous tense. For example, let's say that I was driving with my girlfriend and I slept while she was driving. So I will say that I was sleeping while she was driving. Both actions were happening parallel at the same time, therefore we use past continuous tense. Question form: was he sleeping while the teacher was teaching? In the class, the teacher was teaching and the boy was sleeping. At the same time, parallel actions were happening. Therefore, we use past continuous tense. Was he sleeping while the teacher was teaching? And another example is while I was sleeping, comma, they were celebrating. Both actions were happening at the same time. Therefore, we use past continuous tense. We also use past continuous tense to define an atmosphere or a storyline. You may have observed that in the novels, things always start with the past continuous tense. For example, when we stepped in the class, students were making noise. Some were playing. One boy was crying and a little girl was sleeping. One boy was running around and waving his hands. Others were laughing. Here we use past continuous tense to describe an atmosphere. We use past continuous tense when something often happened in the past, and that thing was either irritating or annoying. In that case, we use past continuous tense for describing the repetition. Some examples are: he was always waking up late. She was always annoying others. His mom was always scolding her children. So guys and girls, now we will discuss some common mistakes which we make. The first mistake is that there are some non-continuous verbs that cannot be used in the continuous tenses. And to know more about non-continuous verbs, please watch my movie and tutorial on non-continuous verbs. The link is given in the description. This is the wrong sentence. He was being at school when they came. The correct form is he was at school when they came. So here we cannot use past continuous tense. Similarly, a common mistake is that we use the shorter action in the past as the past continuous tense and the longer action as past simple tense. While she was calling, I slept. I slept. I was sleeping when she called because I started sleeping at 6 p.m. and was sleeping till 11 p.m. and she called at 7 p.m. Therefore, it's the wrong form. The right form is while I was sleeping, she called. Now, guys and girls, we will do some exercises. You will have to write down the affirmative, negative, and question forms of past continuous tense for a sentence. She called while I sleep. So what is the affirmative form? She called. Yes. While I was sleeping. This is the longer action, sleeping, and the shorter action is called. Okay, what is the negative form? She called while I was not sleeping. Okay, if I ask you what is the contracted negative form of this sentence, then it is she called while I wasn't sleeping. And what is the question form? Yes. Did she call while I was sleeping? Or we can use was I sleeping when she called. Both sentences, both forms are right. Here we use when with the past simple tense, and here we use while with past continuous tense, but the question form changes. But both the forms are correct. So we can use while or when in the beginning of the sentence or in the middle of the sentence. All four forms are correct. She called while I was sleeping, or while I was sleeping, comma, she called. I was sleeping when she called, or when she called, I was sleeping. These four sentences are correct. Now let's continue our exercise. He woke when it started to rain. What is the affirmative form of this sentence? Yes, he was walking when it started to rain. Or you can say when it started to rain, comma, he was walking. Or you could use while. While he was walking, it started to rain, or it started to rain while he was walking. All four forms are correct. What is the negative form? He was not walking when it started to rain. And what is the contracted form of this sentence? Yes, he wasn't walking when it started to rain. And we use the contracted form mostly for speaking purposes. We do not write it like this usually. And what is the question form? Yes, was he walking? The auxiliary verb comes first, then the subject, and then the ing form of the main verb. When it started to rain, and in the end, question mark. The third example, at 2 p.m. sun shine. What is the affirmative form? Yeah, at 2 p.m., comma, sun was shining. And you can use all the four forms over here. Negative form, at 2 p.m. sun was not shining. And the contracted form would be at 2 p.m. sun wasn't shining. And what would be the question form? Yeah, was the sun shining at 2 p.m.? And then question mark. So guys, I hope that you would have benefited from this lesson by ifactioner.com. Please visit ifactioner.com to do some more exercises. Please subscribe to my channel and like this video. I will see you after the break. Until then, take care. Bye bye.